people will probably think I'm crazy for doing this, but I've had a huge influx of listings recently. So how easy it for, a team lead to just say, yeah, I want to take all these listings and that's going to be my bread and butter. I'm co-listing every one of my listings with an agent. You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And I've gotten so comfortable being uncomfortable that I don't even know what uncomfortable feels like anymore. Again, I'm just trying to do everything I can to make sure these agents are successful, and I'm putting their needs before mine. And I can't guarantee anybody's success, but I have the systems, the platform, the training, the mentoring, the hands-on, I have everything in place to help somebody go from 0 to 1 deal.
Welcome back to the Reside Platform podcast. I'm super excited because we got David Smith of the Lux Realty Team with EXP in Beaumont, Texas. Now, this is a really cool story that you're going to want to pick up on because oftentimes when we're in the industry, we have limiting beliefs. We think we got to wait until we have everything in place, everything's perfect before we take action. But this guy has taken massive action. In fact, he was just licensed February of 2022. We're shooting this right now. It's only been a year and a half, September 2023, and this guy already has 12 agents on his team, and they're absolutely crushing it. So I'm really excited to dive in with David and find out what are the principles, the secrets to his success that has helped him grow that quickly, and also find out where he's going next. So here he is, David. Welcome to the podcast. How you doing?
Good, Nick. Good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so it's really exciting. We met a few months ago. You have joined Reside and aligned with our platform and you've seen massive growth. But before we get into that, I kind of want to understand your background. I mean, how did you end up in real estate? And because there's got to be something in your past experiences that has prepared you for some pretty amazing growth in a year and a half. I don't know many teams that have gone from 0 to 12 agents in a year and a half. So where'd you come from? What's your background?
Really, my background's the military, so having a military background, spent 10 years active duty Marine Corps, worked for as a federal employee for the Department of Navy for a year, worked for Department of Veteran Affairs out of Austin. And then I went to the Air Force Reserves, and not because I wanted time or anything like that. It was kind of continue my time in the military, but also to help train and mentor and guide the younger airmen. And that's where I found my passion at in the Marine Corps. And that's why when I did come into real estate, I knew starting a team was something I wanted to do early on.
So you were in the Air Force branch?
For 4 years, yes, sir. But as a reservist out of San Antonio. So I was heading up the ramp team out there. I was one of the lead guys there. So it's taking me out there 1 to 2 times a month. And it was becoming a lot, especially building businesses and everything else. So yeah, I kind of flipped out of there. But prior to that, I was active duty Marine Corps for 10 years.
Wow. So Marine Corps and Air Force. And I'm curious, as an airline pilot, former commercial airline pilot, San Antonio, any B-52 bombers ever out of there, or what did they fly out of?
That I've seen. They have a bunch of C-130s and all that stuff coming in and out, all the time, but nothing.
Oh, C-130s. Interesting. C-130s. If you guys don't know what a C-130 is, look it up. It's a really cool airplane. And a lot of wildland firefighters would use C-130s for a long time. But David, you mentioned something that is really important, and I want people to understand this. At the Air Force Reserve, you got into training, mentoring, coaching.
Yes, sir.
And talk to me about that. You found that was your niche, or you were passionate about that? What is it about?
Yes. Well, when I first went in, I was kind of flying under radar, but the team section I was in, they were struggling a little bit. And then, they had a meeting with some of us that were, higher ranked, and was like, look, we need somebody to step up. And then, they pointed me out. They already knew kind of how I was as a person. They was like, we need you to step in and, kind of show up and show out and help guide and train these guys. And, so we had a team of 40 airmen just in the ramp team alone. So we were loading and, offloading planes as training out there. But so I stepped into the role, and it just took off. And I had that same type of experience with the Marine Corps, but it was something I had a passion for, the drive. We quickly turned around. I'm very hard-nosed. I'm abrasive. I'm straight to the point. I'm very direct. And I think that's kind of why I was originally drawn to Reside, with John Chepelak and his kind of coaching and mentoring style. So, it has that kind of bullnose effect. But it just works. But the biggest thing is I just pour, love and passion into the people, and, even in the Air Force and Marine Corps. And I've kind of done the same thing with my real estate team. I'm just pouring everything I can into them. And I know that whatever I pour into them, I'm going to get back tenfold. So I'm taking a lot of that experience from the Marine Corps and Air Force and the military background and putting it into my team here with real estate.
So as a leader, you hear these, there's two parts to that. I'm hard-nosed, I'm direct, I'm to the point. But at the same time, the dichotomy of this is I pour into my people, I love them, I guide them, right? So how do you see that as a leader? How would you describe your leadership style when those are kind of, to a lot of people, those are polar opposites?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think people are kind of drawn to that, especially, like I said, in the real estate team. I knew early on that I didn't know what I didn't know in real estate, so I joined a team. But starting with another brokerage and then joining ESP and being part of the team and stuff, I saw a lot that I was like, this is just broken. Like there's got to be a better way for people to get started in real estate. There's no real true guidance. There's no real true mentorship. It's like, hey, this is what I do, go do it. But no, it's like, do what I do, but not, nobody's really showing you. So a lot of people are drawn to me because I'm very hands-on, because I am very hands-on. Like I said, I'm very direct. I'm in follow-up boss every day. Like, hey, you didn't call your leads today. They're like,
you're leading by example, I imagine.
Absolutely. So, I mean, we're in the office, we get a lead, I'm calling them so they can sit there and listen to what I'm saying. So then they're also hearing it firsthand, but I'm staying on top of them. But if I'm doing showings, they can come with me. If I'm doing listing appointments, they can come with me. If they're doing listing appointments, I'll be there with them. So if they need me, I'm there 100% of the time. It's kind of funny because last week somebody messaged me and I didn't respond for 10 minutes. So they made this little missing person flyer because they're like, what's going on? David hasn't responded. Like they're so used to me being so readily available. And I know it can be time consuming as a leader to do that. But knowing these agents, most of the agents that came on are fresh or hadn't been in a spot where they're, know what to do. They need somebody to be there for them. And a lot of people will just hold it, holding their hand. And it is in the beginning, but I know once they get 2-3 deals, they're going to be, it's going to be further and further distance. They're not going to need me like that, but they still need that in the beginning.
So that's interesting. So a lot of times, yeah, it feels like you're taking one step back to take 2 steps forward with your people, but you're investing in them. Mentoring, guiding, training is investing in them so that eventually they can do it without you. Absolutely. They can make really good decisions without you. And I'm glad you pointed that out, because a lot of people think, oh man, I don't want to bring on an agent. Oh, I'm not ready to grow yet. I don't have this perfect, online tutorial system. I don't have the perfect training protocol. I don't have all these things in place, so I can't do it yet. Thinking that you can just completely outsource your training and outsource it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, so Reside obviously has an awesome onboarding training. We have leadership trainings weekly, but I'm still in the office every day from 12 to 3. So if they need something hands-on, I mean, obviously Zoom's great, but I still don't think anything can replace that in-person type of training and talking and just getting to know and feel and all that stuff. And then what we started doing and implementing is 1 to 2 times a week. Like today, as soon as I get off here, we actually have an open house, and we're all meeting at the open house, and we're using that house as a training tool to go through. Like, I'm going to be the agent, they're going to be the buyers, or like next week we have a inspector coming by, and we're going to be in an open house, so potentially buyers coming in, but we're using, the houses that we have listed as training tools. And the agents are absolutely loving that.
And this goes back to your military background about training, right? Yeah. It's old adage that if you're going to cut down a tree, you can start chopping away at that tree. If you have 7 hours, you spend every 7 hours chopping away, or you can sharpen your axe for 5 or 6 hours and only have to swing for an hour. Is that the mentality you use in terms of training your agents? You're obviously taking massive action, but it sounds like you're using every opportunity possible to train.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I tell them like, hey, if we're going to fail, let's fail right here at the office. So when you're out there, I want you to be knowledgeable. I want you to be successful, and I want your close rate to be higher than any other, agent out here. I'm big with numbers and statistics, and we're always throwing out numbers like average agents closing 8 to 12, a year out here in our area. And I have agents that are brand new closing 2 to 3 in their first month or two, you know.
Let's talk about that because we want proof. Okay, David. People are listening to this like, I want proof. Does this work? So what's it been like? You make a good point here. It's like, okay, I want you to be successful with your clients and fail in the simulation. But when you're with them, I want you to succeed. And that will create momentum and wins. And they're going to want to do it more and more and more, whether that's a lead or an opportunity, open house, a showing. So talk to me about your agents. You have 12, you went from, tell me about the progression of your agents. Like in
Yeah, so I got a team in January. So I was only in real estate 11 months, right? So it's crazy. I mean, and I got haters out there because I started so soon, but that just fuels me.
and let's talk about those haters in a second.
Okay. Yeah.
But
So
let me point this out. Okay, it's September. He started his team in January, everybody.
correct. Yep. So right away, I mean, I had a lot of interest because I mean, coming out as a new agent, it took me a few months to close my first deal. I didn't close my first deal till June of last year, but from June to December, I closed 60 deals. So I 60 deals in 6 months.
Yeah. Whoa, 60 deals in 6 months. I want to know how you did that. But then you started your team because that was your goal, right? Your goal was to build.
Yeah. So the beginning was a team. So all that, all my work ethic and everything just proved the method, right? And then so that drew some people automatically to me, like, hey, what are you doing? How can I be a part of it? And so we had, Jonathan, which is a new agent, Myra, which was kind of a friend and stuff like that. They getting their license. So they kind of started off with me in about February, March timeframe. So I didn't really get my first agent until February. My second one until March. And then had some agents that are taking their tests and stuff like that. Some that are still coming on board. But then it wasn't really until I joined Reside and I started like pounding the thing. And I think there was that kind of fear, like, why would somebody join me? I'm so new. I'm so fresh. I have tons and tons of value, but why? And then we went to that mastermind and it was like, you just got to do it. Like, you got to get out of that stage. I forget what you called it, but it's that fear, like where you think
imposter syndrome.
Syndrome. There you go. And man, I started hitting it hard and then right away. So I didn't start recruiting heavy until August, so almost 2 months now. And then I went from 2 to 12. So in 2 months, 10 agents.
So you had 2 agents when you joined Reside, and then 2 months later you got 12. And part of it was the environment and being surrounded with other people. And then we went to John's house, like you, me, Sunny, and Preston. We were in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at his house on his patio, and you got to learn from probably the top recruiter, coach, trainer in North America when it comes to real estate. That's got to be pretty cool. But what was your first experience with John? Because I believe you met John prior to joining Reside.
Yeah.
How that story?
I was actually at a shareholder conference. So I was looking for I knew early on, like, I'm so new into real estate and so new into business and growing a team. I needed a coach that was going to help me down the right path. That way I'm not sitting here failing. And I knew I wanted to get to where I wanted to be a lot sooner than later. So coaching was something that's important to me. I mean, I coached baseball, soccer, grew up playing sports, military, the whole thing. So coaching is super important to me and I believe in 100%. So I was looking and everybody was wanting to just coach me and train me as a team lead. But I'm like, I have a team. I want something to be accessible for my team as well. And then so I was at the shareholder meeting and then John Cheplak was there and I had a few people like, hey, like John Cheplak is probably going to be good for you. Like, y'all have a lot of the same personality, same mentality, everything. And so then I was like, I got to make it a point to meet. So he had 2 classes. They were exactly the same, but I went to both of them just so I could get a feel for him in person. And then he was on stage and I was like, hey, I said, this coaching platform in Reside was still kind of new and starting. I said, Reside. He's like, can't talk about that, but I think, and so I think I already had a feeling like Reside was going to be it because I'd watched the kind of intro videos that y'all were putting out and stuff. I'm like, man, this is phenomenal. I think it's got everything I need. I mean, so it breaks down all parts of the business. I mean, we're even looking at, my ROI and you're deep diving into the business. So, I mean, it's way more than I ever expected. And it's helped me grow in a rate that I was not expecting either. So it's been phenomenal.
What's cool about talking to you, David, is like, ignorance is bliss, and you sought it out. I remember John. It's funny. You don't know this. I don't know if you know this, but John was on stage at the EXP shareholder. He gets off stage and he gets a text message. And it's some guy is like, "Hey man, I just saw you on stage. I want to talk. I want to coach with you. I want to do this. I need this." And so that was you, David.
It
And
was.
he was already sharing the messages that you were sending to him as he got off stage. And I want everyone to pick up on this. You ever been on stage and at these, we all go to these conferences, we see the people on stage, we got questions. We're not quite sure if, they even know who we are or even if we're worthy of talking to them. Right. And we just sit back and take notes. But you just went out there and just said, "Hey, my name's David. Hey, John Sheplack. Let's talk." The next thing you know, here we are on a podcast and you got 12 agents.
Yeah.
Well, I just want people to get out. How do you get out of your comfort zone like that?
Man, I don't think I have a comfort zone anymore.
Okay.
But, I mean, I've been, just like anybody, everybody's got a life story, right? So I've been through it all. And then coming from my background and the places, like, you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And I've gotten so comfortable being uncomfortable that I don't even know what uncomfortable feels like anymore, so.
It's not even a label. You can't even label it uncomfortable.
Correct. I don't even know what it feels like anymore, so like when I'm talking to these agents and I'm like I said, I'm very passionate about what I do. And I'm talking to them, I'm like, holy crap, Smith, like you're intense, and I had one of my agents tell me that. And I'm like, man, I don't know if that's good or bad, so I had to ask him like, look, if I'm doing too much, let me know. He's like, no, like it's great. Like you're motivating me, you're driving me. And it's just because I see no roadblocks, if there's something there, I'm going to find a way through it, but yeah, it's just, I think life will prepare you for some of that stuff. But once you kind of get out of your own way, yeah, I mean, the possibilities are limitless.
And it's contagious, right? You guys pick up on this, his leadership style in terms of intensity. It doesn't mean it's repelling people. It's actually drawing people in and motivating them to go do things that they've never done before, like making a call to a lead online, doing an open house, circle prospect. All these things we ask our agents to do is uncomfortable for them. They've never done it before. And to have a leader that's like, "Hey, listen, we're going to do uncomfortable things. That's what we do. I don't even know what it is anymore. Follow me," is inspiring. And let's talk about some of your agents on your team. And because a lot of experienced agents, even in Beaumont, right? I know this right now. In your town right now, you got experienced agents, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. They've never actually experienced what it's like to be on a team, because when they came into the industry, it was like, here's your desk, call your friends, call your family, good luck. Right. And they've struggled. I mean, right. The average agent does 8 to 12 homes a year. I think that's generous. I think you're being really generous, because in today's market, sales, I don't know about your market, but sales are down.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Sales are down across North America, but I'm watching you and your age. It's not just you, David, your agents are selling homes. So tell me a story about an agent that had joined your team and what it's been like for them.
Yeah. So first things first. So you kind of just talked about like cold call and stuff like that. So Michael Lewis, he's 19 years old. He's got a home that he's got listed. And we had a conversation 2 days ago. I was like, look, I said, right now is the time where you got to put the pedal to the metal. I said, what you do today is going to create success for the future. And I said, if we can come out of the end of this kind of rough time and we're successful, like our success is going to be multiplied when the market comes back great, right? The next day, he set an open house for today. So as soon as I leave here, I'm going to his open house. Yesterday, he walked around the neighborhood door knocking.
Wow.
Door knocking. I was just blown away. He was like, you told me I had to do what nobody else was willing to do. So I went door knocked everybody, let them know I have an open house today. And then he's actually got 2 sellers that are potentially interested, and he got their information. So we're going to go talk to them, so that's phenomenal. So that kind of made me like a proud team lead yesterday when he made a little video about it. I was like, yes, it's working, But I mean, now that I got these agents on, I mean, I got proof is in the pudding, right? So I'm providing the leads. I'm providing this massive amounts of value, and that's what I wanted to do. But Whitney and Pete, she came on about 2 months ago. She was with another brokerage prior to that. She was in Houston. She's a full-time teacher. So she teaches full-time. She went to a point where she was, money wasn't great. And, I tell this story, and I've told this story to other people, so I can put it out there, but money wasn't great. She started teaching, but she don't want to stay in teaching forever. She had only done one deal in 2.5 years. One deal, and it was a
One
friend.
deal in 2.5 years and a friend.
Yeah, a friend from Houston. It was right after she moved. She was driving back and forth to Houston. She didn't make a whole lot of money. She probably with the gas and everything, I lost money. So she thought her real estate career was just done, And so when we ended up meeting up, she was like, "Look, I know I want it, but I haven't done anything. But if you can just guide me down the right path, I'm willing to do whatever it takes." And so she's been with me. So on day 6 of her being on team, she got her first deal under contract. Now we're 8 weeks in. She just closing her 4th deal this week, and she's got 2 more under contract, and she just submitted like 3 more offers yesterday.
Ooh,
Yeah. So,
in 8 weeks.
But yeah, like phenomenal growth. And I can't guarantee anybody's success, but I have the systems, the platform, the training, the mentoring, the hands-on, I have everything in place to help somebody go from 0 to 1 deal faster than anybody else will.
Yeah. So in 6 weeks, she has 4 closed, 2 under contract, and 2 or more opportunities coming.
Yeah, in 8 weeks. So she just hit her full 2 months with me. Yeah,
in 2 months. Yeah. And obviously you didn't do the work, she did the work.
Correct.
But you put her in a position that she had never been in before. 2.5 years, 1 deal. That's not unusual. That's a common story in real estate, unfortunately, right? So that's what happens when you have no training, no leads, no systems, no leadership. It's a part-time gig that you hope someday could be a full-time gig. Yeah. Right. And I think a lot of people are in that struggle, and it doesn't have to be that way. Now, David, you said something, you want to add as much value as possible to your agents, and you struggled with that value prop before Reside. So, but now you have the value prop. What's the value proposition?
I mean, so one, the systems, the training. So the training is phenomenal, first and foremost. I mean, the onboarding, so now before, like, how do I grow and be able to handle all the growth and stuff like that? The onboarding has been phenomenal. The weekly trainings, I mean, you almost have 100 years of experience between the 4 of y'all, right? So
yeah,
not only they're getting me, they're getting another 100 years of experience. So being so new, I knew coaching was going to be something I knew. And this, like I said, some of the people, like 2 of the agents on the team knew me personally. So, when you're being a team lead for somebody that knows you personally, the way they're going to accept your, training is going to be different than if they're talking to you, right? So I knew early on that was going to be something. But systems, platforms, leads, I mean, everything I can provide. I mean, from signs, yard signs, lock boxes, I get them a polo when they come on board. I mean, just
you're ready to go. So you're also quite the lead generator. I mean, how many opportunities are you generating per month? Just to give people an idea. 12 agents, how many leads?
So right now we're averaging about 420 to 430 leads per month.
Wow. So you have enough leads, David, probably for another 15, 20 agents.
Yeah.
So
start with like 1 lead a day, which I know is probably more than they ever will need. So I was like, I'm set for like 15 agents. But yeah, once I got into Reside and hearing how everybody else, performs and their lead flow. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I feel like
so if you're in the Beaumont area, or even EXP, market center, reach out to David, because he has opportunities, and I'm sure he'd be willing to share with what's working and what's not working and share some success. I recently was talking to a gentleman. He has been in the industry for decades, a top producer for decades, and wants to join a team, he wants to build a team because, he doesn't want to be in personal production his whole life, right? The transaction treadmill, where he wants to now give back, invest in people, grow a team, but he doesn't quite know what to do. What would you suggest to him? Because you did it in 6 months. You're like, hey, I sold 60 homes in 6 months. I'm ready. Let's join a team. I mean, let me build a team. How do you balance that? Waiting to build a team? When is the timing right?
Man, I feel like it's never too soon. I think if it's a thought process, if it's a goal that you want to hit, like, you got to get started. Like I said, there's never a right time. My processes are improving daily, as we go. So there's never a right time. You're never going to have a perfect scenario, a perfect situation. But if you have the knowledge, you can help somebody get started, right? And like you said, this guy's been an agent probably for a while. And when I started my team, I kind of was catering towards the new agents or the agents that were struggling. But I had a 12-year veteran agent come on board, last month, and I'm like, "What can I help you with, man?" And he's like, "Look, nobody providing a lead flow. He builds beach homes. He's got his own real estate stuff going on, but it's like, I could fill my gaps with what you got. And I want to be a part of what you got, so it was phenomenal hearing that. I mean, I had some other interviews with some, it's just because it's becoming contagious. Like I said, everybody's seeing what's going on and they want to be a part of it.
They want to be, so let me get this straight. A 12-year veteran, a successful, I know we're going to leave names anonymous here, but we had a 12-year person join your team, successful.
Yeah.
And I think the principle is, if you can create a vision or make big enough to have more than one person in it, people are going to want to join. So where's the Lux Realty team going? What's the vision for you? What's your mission? What's your vision locally? Where are you going to take this with Lux Realty Team and Reside? Where you go?
Top team in Southeast Texas. That's going to happen, I think, within the next 12 months. And I want to make sure we get there. I'm going to try really darn hard.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of goal. I mean, as far as like a number cap, I don't have a cap because I have all the procedures and everything in place to continue to grow.
So that's the 12-month goal, is the number one team in Southeast Texas. That's the mission. Absolutely. And does everyone know that on your team?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. I mean, they know that. And then, in caveat to that as well is EXP Mega Icon team. So I'm doing this with an 8K cap. There's some brokerages out here that's 10K, no fees. It's like kind of one of those. So that's kind of who I'm competing with, but at 8K cap. But if I can get to a Mega Icon team with EXP and have a 4K cap, shoot, recruiting's going to be easy.
Oh, so for the people that aren't part of EXP, what's the criteria for Mega team?
So there's a volume. I think it's 17.5. I could be wrong with that. I have to check the numbers, but I know what we're going to hit is 175 transactions.
175 transactions, you're Mega agent, and you're going to want to do that as quickly as possible, because that's part of aligning with Reside. Is you and I talk, it's like, how fast can I get to Mega team icon? Because now the cap changes from 8 to 4. Like you said, now you can add even more value to your team members, right? Because they're not paying out of pocket for the cap, or less out of pocket. And so it's just a no-brainer at that point for a lot of people to join.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's like 10K is the closest, other brokers around here. So having a 4K, $700,000 in volume, go knock that out in 2 or 3 deals out here, and now your 20% falls off from EXP and you're 100%, it's going to be a game changer.
Well, I'm just excited talking to you about this, David, because I think the people listening to this, do you have any doubt Dave is going to be the number one team of Southeast Texas? I don't even know who your competition is, but there is no way they have the level of training, the technology stack, the leadership, the resources that you're providing in Southeast Texas right out of the gate. So I want to commend you for that. Congratulations. And don't let off the gas. I think that's the conversation we had. I think you got up to 12, and I said, in a text string, I was like, okay, don't let up. The last thing you want to do is let up, because we got your back. We'll help integrate it. So people don't.
8, and then now 4 or more later. And so I'm averaging like 1 a week. Now, I don't expect it to continue that way, but I'm not going to stop. Recruiting is kind of my top priority. I won't say I've quit production, but my production, I'm just pushing everything to the agents because I want to see them succeed. So even if I get a hot lead, I'm not holding it. I'm like, here, take this, because I know if they go get a win, it's going to get another win and another win. And then that once that ball gets rolling, that momentum, once you get momentum in real estate, it's hard to stop unless you just stop it.
That's a big part of being a team leader, and leadership is getting everyone involved. And that's it. That's a huge win. If you can get past the ball and opportunities to people every single day on your team, they're going to be in real estate. They're going to be looking in the MLS. They're going to be learning. They're going to be showing. They're going to be moving. And movement creates momentum and action and further. It's this, I think what happened to mega teams, David, too, and you have an experience as a mega team, is because our conversion rate, let's say your conversion rate goes down, your agents aren't making action. So what do? We hire ISAs, we hire support to make up for what they're not doing, which just further makes it worse. It just further exacerbates the fact that they're not doing things. And you actually want to get your agents involved into training, into thinking about real estate on a daily basis, because I know what you focus on is what matters. Nothing, and the inverse of that is anything you don't focus on doesn't matter. So as a team leader, a huge win is just to get your people thinking about real estate.
Absolutely. And the thing that I know, people probably think I'm crazy for doing this, but I've had a huge influx of listings recently. So how easy it for, a team lead to just say, yeah, I want to take all these listings and that's going to be my bread and butter. I'm co-listing every one of my listings with an agent, with one of my agents. So everybody on my team right now, except the brand new agent, has a listing, and they may have only been in real estate a month, or they may have been in real estate 2.5 years, but now they have a listing with me. And it's I'm showing clients that, hey, you're getting more than just me. And then, we're hosting open houses there. We're using open houses for trainings, but they're getting, like you said, they're diving into real estate. They're having to go run comps. They're like, what's a comp? I'm like, well, you're about to find out, how do I host an open house? You're about to find out, what do I say? We're about to find out, so I'm throwing it like teaching a kid how to swim, people throw them in the pool, so I'm doing it, I'm making sure they're getting hands-on training. And then obviously they're not taking the lead. I'm taking the lead on it, I'm making sure it's done right, but they're gaining just massive amounts of knowledge from the get-go, and it's helping propel their career in a different way that I don't think anybody's able to do.
Every person can be a teacher. You can learn from anybody. And it's funny because even at Reside and top level masterminds, we have teams doing 500 transactions, 1,000 transactions, $1 billion a year. And I can tell you this, the top brass, when David's speaking, they're taking notes because they want that fresh set of eyes. They want that fresh set of ears. They want the people that are out there hustling because you can learn from them. And David, you just taught me something, right? So many team leaders are trying to hold on to things, hold on to the listings, hold on to the control. And that is also limiting your agent's growth and potential and their experience. And you're telling me you co-list with your agents right out of the gate?
Yes, sir.
Right? And
everybody told me, and everything I read was like, they shouldn't get listings until they've closed 20 deals, or they've done so many transactions, or they've been an agent for 2 years. I'm like, why? When I've started and I got a listing, I'm like, that's my listing, so even I didn't care how fresh or, green I was behind the ears or whatever. But so my mentality is different. I have, like you said, an open hand, like have a abundance mindset. And I know that I'm splitting these 50-50 with them. It's not even like a crazy split where they're only getting 10%. I'm a cold hard 50-50 on anything I provide. But I know that's just going to come back to me tenfold, in a few months. So,
well, I coach, led, and train a lot of top team leaders, and the ones that want to get out of production, you want to listen to this again. Rewind it, listen to the co-listing part of it. If you want to get out of production, you should never go on an appointment alone. If you're in production and you want to get out of production, let me say again, never go on an appointment alone again. Your job is to replace yourself. And so what better way to replace yourself than have them come in and model you? So that's how I got out of production, David. The only difference is I struggled for 8 years to get out of production until I realized what you realized. I started bringing Tiffany with me to every appointment, every listing appointment. And then I co-listed everything with her. And eventually, guess what? She replaced me.
Yeah, there you go.
right? And we did that again and then again and then again and again. And now I think I have 14 listing partners now that are fully trained, fully signed off on. I trust them as much as I would trust myself to go on a listing appointment. And that happens over time. So David, you are on the path of removing yourself from production, which will only elevate your level, your goals, your visions, your missions to go out there and grow this thing, man.
Absolutely.
So is there anything you want to end on? How do people reach out to you if they have any questions?
Oh man,
There's
so I'm all over
calls,
social media.
referrals for you.
Yeah, so I mean, even until the shareholder meeting back in, I think it was May, my social media was just closed and under contract. Closed and under contract. That's all social media I had. From then, I kind of started like a YouTube channel, all that. So, but David at Lux Realty Team, .com. Sorry, yeah, David at LuxRealtyTeam.com. David.LuxRealtyTeam.com for the website. Everything's branded, personal, and professional, but easy to find me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn now. I mean, I'm everywhere, which that's another thing is I'm helping all my agents brand themselves as individuals as well. And I got a social media team that's helping me do that. So again, I'm just trying to do everything I can to make sure these agents are successful and I'm putting their needs before mine.
Yeah, that's so key. That's so good, David. Yeah, find David on Facebook, find him on Instagram. He does and model him. He does an amazing job of putting his agents forward. His agents, I'm impressed. They're making posts, they're promoting properties, they're posting about wins they're having in the marketplace. It's contagious. And then David's sharing it, boosting it, acknowledging his people, which I know is making them feel really good when the leader's like, hey, good job, keep going, right? We're crushing it. And I know all the other agents in Beaumont, we talked about haters. They're not really haters. They're just kind of wondering how in the heck are they doing so well when the marketplace is, all the other signs are telling us we should be struggling. And that's so cool. And that's the power of being on a good team with a good leader, man. David, I'm proud of you. Can't wait to see you grow even more. Everyone reach out to David. Thanks for joining us today.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.